From Kazakhstan to Canada, welcome to the only podcast called the Redenbacher. I'm one of your hosts, Matt Murphy, joined by Commander Ben Bullerwell. How's it going, Ben?
It's going great, Matt. Thanks for that. I'm pretty excited to talk about this week's episode of the Orville. It's a pretty different one.
It's pretty far out. I'm not gonna lie. It's one of the weirdest episodes of the entire series, but I loved it.
Yeah, I originally on like the first viewing, I didn't even know what I thought of it all. I was a little bewildered, but it's quite beautiful in a weird way. And
well, we don't know what to make of it. We're like Isaac looking at love for the first time. We don't really know. It's pretty interesting. All I knew after the first watch was, wow, Isaac and the wife beater. I need more of that in my life. Please make several action figures of that. It was fantastic.
Yeah, all I could see was Bender in that moment. I was like, wait a minute.
Yeah, I thought of Futurama a lot during this episode, especially when they had like the red dwarf and the blue dwarf or whatever the dwarves were.
Ah, the two dwarf stars, yeah.
Yeah. It reminded me of that episode of Futurama when they go back in the past after Fry makes Jiffy Pop in the microwave and they have like the red and blue fields combining in the middle. Like that's all I could think of the second time I saw that. Yeah, let's dive into the episode as a whole. So it was called A Happy Refrain, and this one was written and directed by Seth MacFarlane. He took the ball and ran with it this time.
And ran he did, to an excellent ballpark, if I may.
Yeah, this was a sublime ballpark, an excellent one with some weird games being played on the field, but
it definitely wasn't traditional baseball.
No, for sure. Now, this is some behind-the-scenes kind of stuff that you guys can't see, but for the previews for the show, there was one scene that stood out to me when they showed like the season 2 trailer, and that was Bortus with a mustache. So I decided to keep my mustache until this episode aired. So I've been, burdened with this upper lip weight, if you will, for about, a month now. So I can finally shave this after I record this podcast. That's how much I care about you guys.
Oh my god, you know what? It's so funny because when you say that, it actually reminded me of when I saw the same clip, like the season 2 premiere kind of thing.
Yeah.
And holy jeepers, I remember when I saw Bortus with that mustache, I was like, that better not be like the last episode.
Yeah, it's cool. Like a trailer's supposed to make you interested and throw in like little clips that makes your mind race and make you invested and have to see the show. And just that snippet of Bortus with the mustache is like, where are we going? Wherever it is, I want to go to there. Like easily. Yeah, it's a lot of hype to reach when it's Bortus with a mustache. Like you're expecting excellence, but I think that they stuck the landing. It was pretty decent. I enjoyed it. Good B plot.
It was a very strange concept for a B-plot. I mean, I believe the episode description was just Gordon suggests strange grooming or a new grooming habit, something like that, habit for Bortus, and you're just like, wait a minute, what? And then you get to see the mustache, and you're like, wow.
Yeah, never take Gordon's advice. I mean, Isaac didn't even want it about dating, and then the mustache advice seemed like a total flop. So, I don't know. Never listen to Gordon, I guess. Yeah, we'll start off by going through the episode. Bortus comes up to Dr. Finn in her office and says that he wants it. Gordon told him he would look good with a mustache, basically.
Yeah, he goes, Gordon says it would look pretty good.
Yeah.
And then it's like an hour later and he gets a mustache due to, I believe it was something with follicle stimulation.
Yeah, it's a follicle stimulator. So baldness is a thing of the past in the Orville universe, which is pretty cool.
There you go. George Costanza would be very happy to see this day.
Oh, I've got a George Costanza reference lined up for later on. We'll get to it.
I can't wait. I can't wait to hear it. I'm excited.
No, this was great. Bortus wanted a mustache, and he got a mustache. I think it would have been really cool if they gave him like a Fu Manchu as like a reference to the TOS Klingons and stuff. That would have been sweet.
Ah, you're right. That would be very interesting. It'd be a very nice like salute to Star Trek.
Yeah, since the Moclan are very similar to the Klingon, like they and the Krill kind of share both attributes of the Klingons.
Yeah, they're an interesting like they kind of seem to have that rigid forehead that, is very notoriously known to be possessed by the Klingons. Like even in Voyager, you have B'Elanna Torres, she's only half Klingon, and she still has very defined ridges on her forehead. That's I know what I think of when I see the Moclans. Obviously Klingon warriors have a lot of hair and apparently, we've learned that facial hair and normal hair on top of one's head. Bortus does not actually talk about body hair, for that matter.
I want Bortus with an afro next season. That's what I want.
Stay tuned for season 3, guys. Bortus gets an afro.
Yeah, if the show gets renewed, which I'm hoping it does, a lot of other Fox shows have been renewed. At this point, the Orville is kind of up in the air, so don't forget to send your love on Facebook. Watch the show live if you can on cable, and if not, leave your comments and watch it on the website. Show Fox that you want to see more of this show.
Show them what they want to see, and you'll probably get to see more of what you want to see, which is hopefully the Orville.
Yeah.
But and the Redenbacher. But I mean,
yeah. This episode I found had a lot of character walks onto the bridge. Everyone reacts weirdly. Like they have Bortus walking onto the bridge, and then they react to the mustache, and then Isaac walking onto the bridge. Like 3 times that happens, and they all react differently to him.
You're right. A lot of these reactions aren't held to like that of one individual, but it's actually the whole bridge, and they seem to be very much in like synchronous means of thinking. Like everyone has the exact same thought about everything.
It feels like The Office when someone would wear something different into the office. They'd be like, "What are you doing? That's not working." So after Dr. Finn uses the follicle stimulator on Bortus, Isaac comes into her office, and he has a banana, and he knows when she gets hangry. Apparently, what's interesting about that is a banana, as you might know, is a phallic symbol. So it's interesting that it was a banana and not anything else that he brought to her.
No, you're right, actually, and there's, I don't know if this is just the means that I've interpreted through, but after that, thing, he comes in, he gives her the banana, he says that she's cranky after not eating after 1,600 hours or something like that. He also picks up that our doctor has gotten a new haircut. Isaac does do the revisions to this paper. Claire says she owes Isaac a favor. But then Isaac said that it's like, it's very unlikely that you can provide him any assistance because he far, exceeds her in like, he's superior to her in cognitive function and things like that. Cognitive, he doesn't have a brain. But anyway, I think it's really interesting there. She actually gently strokes the top of the banana with a very suggestive look on her face. I don't know if this is my interpretation of things. Maybe I'm perverse. Maybe I'll edit that out. I don't know.
That's an interesting observation that I think other people will check out next time they see the episode.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to give it a rewatch, or if maybe it's going to be the first time you're going to watch the episode, just keep an eye out for that.
That is interesting. I just noticed to say that it's a phallic symbol because in university, that's always the answer. If you don't know, if you're blanking on an answer, just go, it's a phallic symbol, I'm pretty sure. That's all you really have to say. That's what I've learned anyways. So moving along a bit, as Bortus is on the bridge there, everyone's looking at the mustache, and they kind of know that Gordon did it. And Gordon says, I love it. I think people are really going to be talking about it. Actually, I think Ed said that. One thing I know that Gordon definitely said was he said, man, if he has that across lip, I wonder what else he has going on. What the hell? That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard said about a mustache.
I don't know. Maybe like, the facial hair, like a mustache is like a symbolism of masculinity. So perhaps if one possesses a very high amount of facial hair, maybe some.
To me, it's a relic of the 80s. You look at Magnum PI and other legendary mustaches like Burt Reynolds there, and you're like, yeah, what a badass. They look like Men of Mystery, like they're really, I know the coolest guy in the world or whatever, the Dos Equis guy is like a goatee, but still, the mustache, you're like, that guy's there's something going on there. Yeah, Tom Selleck, that's the guy that plays Magnum PI. He's got like the most epic mustache ever. Like it's a legend. The mustache itself needs like a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame there. It's that iconic.
So then, after that comment, Claire comes in and she invites everyone to the piano recital. This is something I've been noticing about Bortus, and I love it. So like he pretty much replies, "Is it mandatory?" And it's like, what is up with Bortus? Like, why is he so antisocial? He doesn't want to spend any time sharing birthday parties. He's always asking, is it mandatory? Is that necessary? Is that in order? He doesn't want to do anything after work.
Yeah, it might be because Mocklin traditions are really intense, and he might not be familiar with human activities yet, or union operation kind of symphonies and all that kind of stuff. Who knows? The Mocklin culture is pretty intense, and you never know how that would reflect on him. And he's still opening up. He's still relatively new to the Orville.
No, yeah, you're absolutely right. Actually, who knows? Maybe Bortus is experiencing a lot of anxiety around it, and or maybe he's just.
Let's not forget the last thing he celebrated. He ended up in a prison camp, so he's not too big on celebrations, I guess.
You think he'd be willing to celebrate now? I mean, it's like...
They escaped, though. Last time he tried to have a celebration with anybody, he had to deal with a bunch of BS, so who knows? Yeah,
no, I suppose these things would take a toll on someone after a while.
Yeah, it's also mentioned that the Union Symphony is coming aboard, and we see more of them later. I knew it would be only a matter of time until we saw a huge symphony or a big band music playing. Seth MacFarlane is huge on that. He's got a couple albums out, and he sings in almost any show he can get his hands on.
Yeah, no, totally. If I can just jump back a minute there. So like at Ty's piano recital there, after, Bortus does prove to be there later. So Ty plays like a beautiful masterpiece. This kid is what is he, 6 years old or something like that?
Yeah, was that a great teacher?
Yeah, well, he does, I guess. And like, by the way, I don't know if anyone who's listening has seen the television program Smart Guy. It used to air in Canada. It was on Family Channel. Yeah, back in the, I guess, early 2000s, late 90s.
Probably on some Disney Channel in the States. Yeah.
Yeah, it's probably airing somewhere. If not, you guys can Google it if you want to, for point of reference. But Ty, he looks just like the youngest brother, the star of Smart Guy.
No, the titular smart kid.
Yeah, like I don't know. It's just, is that a stereotypical like smart kid? Like
Look?
is like, if you're smart, this is probably what you look like when you're 6. Like
You never know. You never know. He just has intelligence just radiating off of him. But
no, I mean, I don't know. You've been making Shrek references. I don't
Yeah,
know.
no,
It
no.
just really stood out to me, and I was like, well, if Shrek's okay, surely Smart Guy is.
You've earned a deep cut reference for sure. You've earned one after my ridiculous references.
Thank you. And that was the one I chose. So there you go.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Um,
I love how expressive Yaphit is with just like no eyes. Someone mentioned it on Reddit in the Orville subreddit, and I was like, oh, it's true. Like just the mouth, you kind of know his whole expression. It's great. One thing that's interesting is Isaac has just the eyes and Yaphit has just the mouth, which is cool. So they both kind of have the like reflections of each other.
Yeah, that's actually interesting in a strange way. I didn't even really realize that Yaphit didn't even have eyes. But now that you mention it, it's like 100%, like he doesn't. But they do such an excellent job conveying emotion through like just his mouth and maybe like just like obviously his tone of voice and other
You feel
things.
his hurt when he finds out that Isaac wants to see Dr. Finn and stuff. You feel that thing.
Oh, poor Yaphit. We feel for Yaphit. A lover's jealousy.
Yeah, at least he didn't throw a Yaphit later on when things didn't go his way. Sorry, that's my one pun for no. Who am I kidding? That's the one.
No,
of
keep
my,
him
first of
rolling.
many
That
puns.
was great.
Yeah, no,
Oh,
I'd love
God.
to see a Yaphit spin-off or a comic book series with Yaphit. Like, oh, that'd be great.
Yeah, that'd be interesting. I would. I mean, I don't read a lot of graphic novels or comic books or anything like that, but I mean, I would jump right into a Yaphit graphic novel of some sort.
What's interesting about Isaac and Yaphit like mirroring each other, like Isaac is, I mean, technically his biological material if he was made, like I don't know if he was manufactured on Kaylon, like I really want to go see the planet, but Isaac is basically like biological material, is like a weird goo or whatever, like a cell. So he's like raw robotic material. One can express with his eyes, the other with his mouth. It's
It's almost like a yin and yang sort of thing, hey?
Yeah.
That's actually interesting. That's something that I haven't really thought of before.
No, it's fine because I didn't even think about it until this podcast. I actually have the Orville wiki open. I just see his expressive face there, and he's just.
That's
I mean,
super.
I don't know how expressive it is. Like it is expressive, but he always has the look of like I've been screwed over. Like, is this happening to me right now? Like that's usually.
I swear to God, if one of our listeners would like to do us a big favor and make some sort of a meme about Yaphit and share it with our Facebook group or any other of our social media platforms, I think that would be hilarious. I'd love to see a Yaphit meme.
Or even like compare it to a character that has no expression. Just be like. This character, Yaphit, more expression than someone with an actual human face. And he's just like a blob with lips. But
just, just little sad lips. Looks like, yeah, you're right. He does look like he's been screwed over. I'm looking at that same photo on the wiki fandom, and he just looks like, damn, again.
How
Like,
could this happen to me? No, okay.
let's cue that.
No, okay. That's the musical portion for the week. Let's move on a little bit. Clyden's not sold on the mustache either. He, food matter gets in between it and stuff. This actually might be later on because there's a lot of scenes where they're watching it, but Topa approves of it though. Topa's cool with the mustache.
Yeah, no, you're right. What I think's interesting though is before the events like of like the actual symphony, when Claire asks Isaac out on the initial date, like that's it's like it's quite strange to me. I was watching the episode on the first time when it aired with my roommate. My roommate actually totally called it out, and he was like, "Something's happening here," and I was like, "No, and something did happen."
I thought it was. I was like, "Are we going here?" That was my thoughts.
I just couldn't believe it. I thought it was so absurd. Like it was just well, not absurd. I mean, love has no limits. Let's be honest. But as we find out, this is a unreciprocated love.
we'll talk about that more in depth
We'll
later
get
on.
into it,
But
yeah.
Hadaway asked the great question: "What is love?" It's it is a question, right? Like one of the strengths of this episode for me was the way that they expressed like love and explained it in programming terms. That was really cool.
Well, I'd like to call it technobabble, but I mean, maybe it's just like, I don't know. But yeah, it's interesting how they try and suggest how certain programs and things are altered with the lack of their partnership. And
When
it's kind
Isaac said that he likes the data that he got from Ty, that is, I mean, if you're on a date and a girl's telling you interesting stuff about her and you like that, you're liking the data that she's feeding you, right? So that's
of,
not that much different,
um,
put in those terms.
yeah, I suppose we'll get into this later because this is like a huge thing that I've noticed throughout the entire episode,
Yeah.
where it's well, we'll get into it, but pretty much people are judging Isaac by almost human standards, despite what Dr. Flynn actually says when she's like, "You're a machine." Like, I know you don't understand that feeling, but like consistently, Isaac is being judged through like terms that humans would feel, whether it be remorse, guilt, love,
Yeah.
like whatever.
It's a very Homo sapien perspective of love.
It's interesting. I had a dream about it may have something to do with this episode, but I had a dream about two robots or two machines falling in love. So yeah, in my dream, yeah, it was pretty much these two machines falling in love. And I think it's really interesting because like there's very many different kinds of love. Like as we know, like there's like affection, there's like friendship, there's charity, there's like eros.
And romantic love and stuff.
Yeah, Eros would be Greek actually for what we perceive as romantic love today, I suppose. But yes, like there's all these different types of love, and it's very hard to say, a machine couldn't love.
Not
Maybe they
your
could
toaster.
experience love, not your vacuum.
They make a lot of jokes like that in the episode as well.
Yeah, that's what that came from. But yeah, anyway, let's get back to the things of things.
Yeah, just to give Dr. Finn some credit, she did mention that the feelings she's had for Isaac have been brewing since the shuttle crash. So it's not just like it's out of nowhere, but she's probably trying to bury these feelings because even she's a smart woman and she knows like this is kind of crazy. Like I'm having feelings for like a robotic life form. Like she knows, and I think she's finally ready to go. All right, what the hell?
Yeah, no, totally. Like there's a scene where Claire enters Kelly's office, and she says that she needs to talk to her about something, and then she's like, "Should we get some wine?" Kelly refuses. She says that she doesn't drink at work, and then Claire starts professing her feelings for Isaac, and I just love the expression that Kelly has. She's absolutely dumbfounded, and she's like, and then she runs over to the replicator and just gets wine like ASAP, like,
Yeah.
like, oh my God, it was so quick. But yeah, like you're right. Like, there's a talk, and obviously Kelly reminds Claire that Isaac is a machine. He's unable to love. Like he doesn't experience emotion.
And she says you're just projecting your feelings onto him.
Yeah.
No, he's just there for the research. He just wants pure knowledge, baby.
And he
nothing
makes that
else.
abundantly clear throughout the episode. Like when Claire asks Isaac out, there's actually a quote that I highlighted kind of. And he says, such an outing would yield substantial data regarding human behavioral patterns. Affirmative, doctor, I will go on a date with you. So the very agreement of this date, it's not in romantic interests.
No.
Like Isaac makes that extremely clear. Despite Claire's feelings, I mean, which she has every right to feel, one can't be held accountable for how they feel about
He's
someone.
not curious about the person. He's curious about the data he can receive.
Exactly. So it's kind of like it's. I mean, really, he's. I don't know if it's manipulating because he makes it abundantly clear what his intentions are, but nevertheless, like
his
Claire,
cards are on the table.
Yeah, he like I just don't understand why in the episode everyone is so. I feel like they're unfair to Isaac. I mean, yes, he does mistreat Claire, but I mean, mistreat is based on what we would consider appropriate in a relationship. I mean, I don't know. He just gets judged by like a human jury when he's a robot, and I think
not
it's
for nothing.
unfair.
But if they already think he can't feel, like he can't feel their insults and stuff like that, it's therapeutic for them. But yeah, that was just me playing devil's advocate. I think it's also for the comedic effect of the show, just so they can have like the funny stuff of them passive aggressively telling him off.
Oh, I mean, absolutely. Like, I understand that it exists in this episode. Like, this is a science fiction comedy. Like, we're not
Yeah.
going to forget about that. They're going to take the opportunity to make those kind of jokes, rightfully so as well. Like, this isn't like a science fiction, like, I don't know. Like, it's not a seriously toned television show. So,
Yeah.
it's totally okay that these things happen the way they do.
Yeah.
I just want to talk about it a bit.
No, no, totally. That's what we're here for. What's interesting is it's funny after Isaac and Dr. Finn confirm their date, he goes down to talk to Commander Lamar about how we should go about the date. And when he goes down and reveals that he has a date with Dr. Finn, Gordon tries to give him advice, and he's like, "I would like to hear from Commander Lamar. I prefer to hear from Commander Lamar," is what he says, which makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, it would appear that several of the crewmates have sought Lamar's advice in this kind of dating thing. We both know what happened with Gordon with the jacket with a billion zippers. Oh my goodness. So I mean, yeah, like so Isaac he does go down, he talks to Gordon and Lamar, and
He knows Lamar's got game.
he has a reputation of being quite successful in
He's
that.
a ladies' man. Yeah.
He's a ladies' man. Thank you. But I think it's so interesting because after they talk about it and how Isaac says that he's going to go on a date with Claire, I love the scene after that when Gordon and Lamar are just booking it down the hall. Like it is so funny how they run, man. Like summer vacation just started. Like
they're like a kid trying to get the word into mom that somebody broke something and they want their story out there first or something.
Yeah, that's actually much better. I love that analogy. It's so true.
They've got the fresh gossip and they're ready to just lay it down at the table there. It's fantastic. I like that little the juxtaposition afterwards.
Yeah, I love it. They start talking about it, and then it's super funny when Ed is talking about Isaac, and then Isaac enters the bridge, and then like Ed just totally just keeps talking, and he's just kind of like,
changes
oh,
the
topic. And my father, like blah 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 blah.
He can't lift that much or something like that.
Yeah, he's like he couldn't lift that weight or whatever. It was just like super funny because I mean I don't know about you, but like everyone is. I feel like everyone has done that and had that awkward situation. Like you're maybe trash talking. I mean, you shouldn't be, but maybe you're speaking illy of a coworker. Like maybe they show up late all the time, and then they walk. This actually happened to me. I was at work and I was going to make a joke about one of my coworkers, and then I actually looked up and he was standing right in front of me asking where my supervisor was, and it was really awkward because I had to try and play it off like I was talking about someone else or something else. And you really get put on a spot and you experience. Well, I don't know if Ed did. He seemed to play it off fairly cool. I experienced an abundance of anxiety. Yeah, it's like, oh my god, he totally knows that I was talking about him. But like,
was this when Isaac gives a look like he understood that they were like, so they switched the conversation? Like he does that like head tilt, right? Or that might be later on.
That might be later on after everyone talks.
Like it's like trash talking
poorly about the way the relationship had gone. Yeah.
Either way, he is getting a greater understanding of human behavior when he can pick up on some social cues like that.
You know what? That's true. Like he can tell that something isn't quite right. And yeah, just being able to identify that social cue, I would say, is pretty big news for.
He is learning. Like he's like the Winston or wherever that Jeopardy robot is by IBM or whatever. He's slowly learning, and eventually he'll take over completely.
Yeah, man. Okay.
That's something I would like to track, though, is seeing Isaac learn more about humanity. But yeah.
Yeah, no, that's true. That would actually be interesting. Just like, maybe we could have a small episode talking about the development of Isaac's character or something like that over time.
Yeah, that might be fun.
As we see in like Star Trek, this happens to 7 of 9 and Data very much. No, both are excellent examples. They
Spock
slowly
makes a
spread humanity. Anyway, but yeah, what I wanted to mention is during the date, Isaac and Claire they do go out and they're like, I just want to know what is up with like the weird hosting of events in strange locations. Like it's in the shuttle bay. I mean, why is it in the shuttle bay? Like I understand it's a large symphony, but isn't like 10 forward like their mess hall? Like wouldn't that accommodate for a symphony? Or
I don't know if the mess hall would have like enough room specifically, but the shuttle bay is like a wide open space. Although I could not picture like a Krill missile coming and blowing up the airlock, and then they all get pulled off into space, and then and then Ted Danson to come and yell at them.
I was wondering, like, okay, so this is like an orchestra, right? Like this is an orchestra. There's a large amount of people. Like, where's the shuttle that dropped them off? It's not in the shuttle bay.
That's true.
Like,
that's
and we know
interesting.
that they don't have transport technology. They can't beam them up, so to speak.
Maybe they like someone drove the shuttle outside of the shuttle bay and is waiting, like crying by
And
themselves
just
outside by
stealthing
the
by, sneaking up on Kelly and their boyfriend kind of thing.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Like
for sure.
yeah.
Another thing is what bugged me is there was no new instruments. It's like we didn't come up with anything new in the next 400 years.
Hey, that's actually kind of true. I mean,
I can't expect them to make new fake instruments because that's Star Wars material. That's usually what they do.
but yeah, I know what you mean, actually. That's kind of interesting as well. I mean, to be fair though, if you do look at the instruments that we use right
They are
now,
old. They're old.
they
Yeah.
they are hundreds of years old. But you're right, it would be nice to see something new added to the works, or maybe an older instrument that's been kind of just reworked. Like, you get a trombone, you make it like extra loopy and spacey or
Give
something.
us
You know what
like
I mean?
laser strings for, the violin and
Oh,
stuff. Yeah.
yeah, that would be
Yeah.
cool. Like a harp with just like optic sensory doot, bling bling. I feel like we have
That's
that
fine.
stuff now actually, but I mean, obviously it's not like refined to a professional instrument.
Yeah, true. But that's just a nitpick. I still like the scene. I thought the song was pretty good.
Yeah, it's like I'm pretty sure, like, I don't know, that's is that the symphony that does the Family Guy soundtrack?
I don't think so. No, that I think that's like someone with the last name Murphy. I forget his full name, but he is definitely related to me. No, I'm just kidding. I
Is his
forget.
name Matthew?
I don't think so. No, he he does like I know he does music for other shows and stuff, but I don't think it was Family Guy specifically. Walter Murphy, I think is his name. Could be wrong, but I'll live with it.
Has he worked with like Seth MacFarlane before?
I don't know. I'm not sure.
Because I don't know, it just had like a very, I don't know, like American Dad kind of Family Guy kind of feel, and it made me feel kind of upbeat and silly. I don't know.
No, I'm not sure. I'm not familiar with that.
Okay, yeah. Anyway, if anyone knows, like, hit that up in like the comments of one of our
Yeah.
multiple social media platforms. I'd
Yeah.
very much
On the
like to know,
Facebook
actually.
page or anything like that, that'd be great to know.
Yeah, your contribution to the community would be appreciated.
One thing that I think we passed by was when Bortus hears that they're going on a date, Finn and Isaac, and he goes, "A human and artificial life form are not compatible. It will not succeed."
Oh my God, I didn't even notice that. I've watched this episode 3 times and I missed that every single time. Are you serious?
I didn't dream it. It
That's
happened.
hilarious.
I missed the
Bortus
zipper thing.
is
I
so
missed the
good.
zippers. Was that in this episode?
No, the Zippers was in a previous episode where Gordon was seeking romantic advice.
Okay,
Um,
yeah, because I see people on Reddit talking about the zippers. And I'm like, what? Did I have a stroke?
did I miss out on that? Like, what happened? Like, did I just blink and the Zippers?
No, I'll save
No.
that for the Star Trek Discovery, my epic debut of my first stroke. But no, no. The second episode of Star Trek Discovery was actually pretty good this season. However, I can't watch it anymore after the follow-up episodes. If you like the show, that's fantastic, and I'll try not to crap on it passive aggressively. But it's not for me, dog. It's a no for me.
Yeah, a lot of people like it, and I totally respect that. I've watched about 3 episodes or 4 episodes of the first season, and it just left a sour taste in my mouth. So I'm sorry to all those that love
Yeah,
it, but
Ben might binge in the future, but for now,
yeah, I do plan to give it like a thorough binge because I experienced that kind of weird kind of remorse when I started watching Enterprise, and I stopped watching Enterprise, and then I watched the series twice after that, and I am quite a big fan. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. If you like Discovery, awesome. If you don't, I mean, you're
yeah.
kind of sharing our opinion, and I sympathize for you. Actually, I
Yeah, and if
empathize.
you like the Orville and you want to wax poetic about it with us, that's what we're here for. We love this show. That's great. So Isaac shows up for a date looking pretty snazzy with dress shirt and pants on, which are, pretty nice.
Yeah, pretty standard for, a mechanical life for. Why is he wearing pants? He looks great. I mean, I
You
know
need
it's
a
the
pair that
advice of
compliment his
Lamar,
robot
but
ass and stuff.
oh, it makes that booty pop.
Yeah. It's weird that the belly button didn't shine through the shirt, but it's, like he's got like a weird belly button that we saw later on when he's wearing the wife beater and
Oh,
the
yeah,
type
when
of
he's in
place.
his underwear and stuff.
Yeah, so he's got like a belly button. That actually might be like, I don't know if there's some kind of like robotic umbilical cord that are attached to Kaylons when they're born. I'd love to see how they're born and stuff.
That's actually really interesting. You're right, because like they are as we know, Isaac's mission is to just observe and learn all he can about like humanity,
Humans. Yeah.
or in the Union, anyone I guess who's associated with the Union. But it's like that would leave one to assume that they were either not interested in humanity, or like biological life forms before. But to recreate a belly button, Like that's kind of
That's some human influence, yeah.
that's like some biological
Maybe
influence.
we'll learn that some human made the Kaylon planet, or
It'd be like Dr. Soong from well, he's the one who made Data and Lore for that matter.
yeah. So there you go. Lore and Data. Those are cool names. I think I've heard of Lore, the name
Yo, if
Lore,
I have
but like
twins,
Lore and Data.
brother, like we're not
Yeah.
like them. Anyway,
Yeah. You have to find
the crystalline entity.
you got
Anyway,
to find a gal that loves Star Trek as much as you, and you might get away with that. Otherwise, it's gonna be an argument.
yes. But anyway, yeah. So the date goes, like as we know, they end up in the bar, right?
Yeah,
Sorry,
it's
what were you
it's
gonna
like a bar
say?
from back home. No, well, one thing that was is sticking in my mind is like maybe the like light switch in his stomach like opens up his chest cavity or like his stomach or whatever to store stuff, kind of like Bender style. I'm not sure if that's something, but that's all I was thinking.
Yeah, maybe you're right. Maybe it's not just like, maybe like some sort of indication with like an LED, but maybe it's literally, yeah, ka-choo, it's a button. Maybe it's a button, right?
Yeah,
Sorry, I don't know.
it could be like an ejection seat or something.
Who knows? It could be anything. These
It'd be cool if
animals
they
are
were in trouble
monsters.
one time and you press that button, they could like reapply air mask or something like that, so that they can be safe in like low oxygen areas or something. The crew, that'd be
Sick.
hey, that's a free idea, Brandon
Yeah,
Bratis and all the and stuff.
anyway, but yeah, so they later on their date, like later on the evening after the symphony, they end up at one of these bar that Dr. Finn had back home.
Yeah, in Baltimore, back in her home
Baltimore, yeah.
in Maryland.
So as we find out, this date is pretty weird. So yeah, she talks about like, well, I mean, it's a first date, right? You
It
want to get
goes
to
about
know.
as you'd expect, like a first date with a robot, basically.
Well, actually, yeah, it's not too far off. So Claire is obviously trying to learn about Isaac and tell Isaac about herself. However, we find out that Isaac's actually downloaded her entire, like all the information that the Union has about her into one of his
Yeah,
databanks.
he's torrented your mental discography. He's got you now. He knows. He
Yeah,
knows. He knows
he
you.
knows everything. He knows what makes you tick. So Claire didn't find this very amusing because, as she expresses later to Kelly, I believe, it wasn't that great. Like it's almost, it felt scripted, perhaps. Like there was
Well, a
no
big part of
one.
dating is getting to know the other person. When someone already knows everything, you feel like you don't even. What do I have to share?
It's like going on a date with someone who's known you for 10 years, but you've only. It's like going on a date with your stalker, right? It's kind of like
Probably
I
what it's
know
like for a
you.
celebrity to go on a date with us normies and stuff.
Yeah, seriously, it's like we probably like read your biography and this and that and the other thing, and they would be inquiring about you. But then if you already knew everything about them, how interesting is that? Like, there's no.
No, it's one-sided for sure.
Absolutely.
One thing I noticed, Isaac was actually enjoying the symphony. Like he seemed to be enjoying himself. He was like moving his head back and forth or something like that. So if you can enjoy music and appreciate music, then that shows that. I mean, there's a lot of emotion behind music other than just like the sounds, right? So I don't know.
I would perceive this in the sense that being like a robotic entity, music is extremely mathematical.
Yeah.
And maybe there's like an appreciation for, like the mathematical underlying. I don't really know the exact phrasing of how I want to say
Yeah,
it.
but either way, he
the
enjoys a good
mathematical
happy refrain.
appreciation.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Isaac gets
so,
Dr. Finn potato cakes on their date, which are nice.
and champagne, which are two of her favorites. Which
Yeah, I'm sure those complement each other quite well.
I feel like they. Anyway, but
Dr.
yeah,
Finn says. Dr. Finn says it's not really a first date without getting to know the other person, and Isaac goes, "My way is more efficient." So efficiency is the key. People in dating just want efficiency. That's why Tinder's taken off so well.
I guess so. If there was a means of them like linking in like a cognitive way of like a data transfer, kind of like I would like to make a reference to the Borg from Star Trek, how they have a collective mind, or yes, even like you were saying, like the Vulcan mind meld.
Vulcan psychology must go by quick whenever you see a therapist or whatever. Just like, oh, okay, there's a problem. You shouldn't do that. That's too much of an impact on her life, and go exercise more or something.
Yeah, no, you're right. Vulcan therapy must be very affordable.
Yeah.
But yeah, jokes aside. Well, actually, not jokes aside, because there's going to be a hell of a lot
Here's
more.
the big one right now. This is where Dr. Finn says, let's flip the tables here. Isaac immediately flips the table over.
Literally, just bam! It shows that Isaac lacks human comprehension. He doesn't understand their mannerisms. He doesn't understand, like, social things. So he literally just flips the table.
I think this was the bit that worked probably the best on the Orville. I know comedy's subjective, but this was great. Just the maybe a little deadpan, just instantly flipping the table. Like I'll even excuse that no one says let's flip the tables. You usually say let's turn the tables. That's usually the expression.
It's true. You're right.
It wouldn't have worked as well if Isaac just like rotated the table, But
spun the table around, started drinking her champagne and eating her potato things.
And then it's no big deal right after because I was just like simulator, fix this or whatever, and reset table, and then it just resets the table and seems like nothing ever happened.
Yeah, but if that was in the mess hall and not the simulator, my goodness.
Isaac says that he will receive a Kaylon primary alert, or Kaylon primary will alert Isaac when sufficient data has been acquired. And I think that's what the plot's going to be like when we go to Kaylon. He'll receive an alert like, Captain Mercer, I need to return to Kaylon. My data, my mission has been completed.
Yeah, totally. It could be like a T'Pol and Archer kind of thing in Enterprise, where T'Pol is being recalled.
The T'Pol recall.
Yeah, the T'Pol recall.
Yeah, so after the date, Isaac's on the bridge, and Malloy is waiting eagerly, like all of us would be if we're hearing that our coworker's dating a robot. Like he has this look on her, he's like, "Come on, come on."
Yeah, no, absolutely. There is one little thing that I did want to mention, like just as the date was finishing and they were saying goodbye to one another, and like the kiss thing happened and everything. Isaac asked her out on another date, saying that he's gathered an impressive amount of data, and Claire says, well, at least you'll be thinking of me. So it's really showing like a conflict in interest. You know what I mean? She acknowledges that, he's gotten data, and that's what he sought out to collect.
You just want me for my data.
Like, he's using, no, you're right. But he's using like Dr. Finn as an end to a means, right?
Well, it was great because he goes, "Do you wish to have another date?" She goes, "Maybe." He goes, "Shall we begin now?"
Yeah, no, I know. Just another funny lack of social understanding.
Isaac he had so many good one-liners and just like lines in general in this episode. Oh, beautiful.
I know. After seeing this episode, I feel like I just can't get enough of Isaac's character anymore. Like I've always very much admired the actor, and the character, but
Mark Jackson killed it this week.
Yes, amazing work, and it was very, very nice to see him make an appearance, like the actor himself, the man behind the mask, if I may.
He did an awesome job capturing like a human as like a robotic figure. Like Data would be proud. Brett Spiner would be. I think so.
Brett Spiner would actually be. I think he would applaud it.
I'm waiting to see Brett Spiner in one of these episodes.
Oh, I know. I mean, we've already had like a few. We've had Dr. Phlox from Enterprise make an appearance. We've had
the Doctor from Voyager is
EMH. So it'd be really, really great. It would be super cool to see Brett Spiner. Like
I thought it was interesting to see the human form. I like that. When I reveal my human form to people, they're usually a little freaked out, but it goes pretty well after that.
So later on,
we're on the bridge where Malloy's waiting for to hear about the date.
Yeah, that was another moment where you get to see Gordon in that kind of like childlike, like excitement. Like as Matt said earlier, it's kind of like when they wanted to. It almost looked like they wanted to, tell on their sibling before the other one got the word out or whatever. This is like another moment that Gordon has like an immense amount of youth, and like a wondrous look in his face, or kind of, I don't know.
But he's great in this episode.
Yeah, excellent acting. Excellent. I loved it.
Kelly brings up a cake that Ed made for her one time as like a romantic gesture, and she describes how disgusting it was, calling it a wide mound of yellow. And I like Ed here talking about, it's like, it was the thought that counted. It's up. He just gets
the whole time he was kind of murmuring. He's like, she kept kind of saying where the cake was lacking, and he was like, and then like she'd continue to the next point where he would kind of mumble and stutter again. It's a thought that counts, and Ed looks like that's kind of what he was saying the whole time, but it wasn't.
You didn't have to like talk about how terrible my romantic gesture actually was. It's basically like really hammers in the point, like, doesn't matter how terrible it is, as long as you thought positively and when he tried to do it. Like
No, it's true. But and then it goes into another scene, and
we get the biggest reveal of the season. There's a bowling alley on the Orville. Holla holla.
Yeah, dude, that was. I mean, I don't know about you. I mean, it was actually in the holodeck. Like
all we have on the Redenbacher is a badminton court, and it's not that good.
We got that in about, like 3D Vulcan chess.
It's right next to the gift wrapping room, which is pretty sweet, but whatever. What's cool about the bowling alley scene? Well, not cool. It's actually a goof. Is that Lamar's last name is actually spelled Lamar with a lowercase m instead of a capital M, like it usually is. So it's a misspelling there. But the bowling alley, they're chill. They make mistakes.
That's a very observant of you.
No,
I
it's on the
applaud thee.
trivia. It's on the trivia page of the Orville wiki. I totally bow down to the
Uh,
Orville fandom wiki or whatever. But
yeah.
that's what's great. Even more Star Trek flash like throwbacks is like one thing I love in the Family Guy episode. Yeah, they have in the classroom. Neil Goldman brings in like a tape of Star Trek, and he like points out all the errors in the episode. Goes, as you can see, Captain Kirk is fighting this guy here, and if you pause right here, you can see his coffee cup on this rock or whatever.
Oh my god.
So,
But yeah, back to the bowling alley.
Lamar gets a strike, I think. I'm pretty sure it was a strike, and he goes, "That's what I'm talking about." And Gordon goes, "It's true. He was talking."
I know, I love that. He's a great. That's true. He was just talking about that. It's like I love this episode because there's so many like social mishaps like in interaction and just like weird little. I don't know if they're jokes or if it's like the inability to maybe I don't know, but it's just such a funny social episode. Like it's great like observational humor. You just I don't know. It's really quirky.
Even when we're introduced to Ensign Turco, who's Lamar's
Maybe
girlfriend slash not girlfriend, played by the model Kyra Santoro, who is stretching her acting wings here. I like that interaction where they don't know if they're dating,
Yeah, I know. I actually love it because she says something like she's like, "Oh, it's nothing serious, but we hang, you know." And then he's like, "Oh, it's not." And then she's like, "No, it is." And he's like, "No." And they're like, "No, no, no, right."
You're afraid to put a label on it and stuff.
They just fail to communicate their emotions so heavily there that is, yeah, it's kind of cute.
Yeah, we would learn that Isaac has like a full recording of his date with Dr. Finn, which is hilarious because then Gordon says, "Remind me never to tell you anything intimate." Because it's like if you go drinking with Isaac, you're screwed. You can just record every stupid thing you did. That's like social media times 1,000.
Yeah, it's not just like telling a story of what happened. It's literally showing you. It's almost as though, it's like this is going to be some kind of weird, like there should be like a privacy disclaimer when Isaac comes on board the starship.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's pretty much just like a.
Yeah, it's creepy.
Yeah, it's kind of wacky. But then, then I guess we know that Isaac kind of shows up and tries to be spontaneous as that was something that.
Dr. Finn gets a message that says, "Meet me at the simulator 8."
Yeah, and then she shows up and she's like, "What is this about?" and stuff. He initiates the programming that Lamar has suggested that he do.
I like to think that Yaphit sent her a message that says, "Meet me at the simulator at 8:30," and just missed his chance there.
She was there 30 minutes earlier.
Yeah.
I don't know. But yeah, so Isaac really does display some unholy behavior.
Once Mark Jackson's revealed the human form of Isaac, or the human form Isaac chooses for the simulator, things change real quick. Any chemistry issues they might have kind of change when you can replicate a human.
Yeah, I mean, wow. This is a moment I'd like to talk about. A lot of people have issues with. There's kind of like a logical error in the hologram being smaller than Isaac's physical dimensions. I mean, you could say, the simulator can produce like a 3D effect or whatever and make it smaller. But when Claire's actually kissing him, like the physical elements don't make sense. Her mouth should actually land before his lips to the point where his lips protrude. But I mean,
I don't think that's an issue because Yaphit, when they show Norm Macdonald in all his glory there in human form with Yaphit, he still has like I think he can still grab things with his like extended arms and stuff. But actually, I was going to say that his form takes that shape. But I mean, Yaphit can manipulate his body, so he could just be in the shape of Norm Macdonald, lips and all, but just apply the skin texture and stuff like that.
Absolutely. And I think I was actually going to mention that point later on in the episode because I thought it was very, very cool when that does get implemented, when you get to see that, because when he stretches his arm out and grabs it, the hologram actually has to display, an extension of the human arm to like cover, I guess, the texture, right?
I like that.
I thought it was really, really cool, actually. Like, that was something I paused and I kind of like pondered for a minute. I was like, I wonder how the hologram's technology really works.
No, but I did want to say again, Mark Jackson does a great job playing, a human form of Isaac. Oh my God, he looks like a robot with the way that he has his face and stuff like that. He's such a talented actor. Oh my God, he's great.
Yeah, no, just phenomenal work.
Pretty quickly, Dr. Finn gives Isaac a kiss, and Isaac goes, "Was that a kiss?" And she says yes, and he goes, "If you wish, you may kiss me again." So he's interested.
Yeah.
And right after that, Dr. Finn makes no ifs, ands, or buts about it. She goes, "Simulate quarters, Dr. Finn Claire J." And then her bedroom appears.
Oh, goodness.
What was cool about this is they revealed that Claire's middle initial is J, which is the iconic, at least cartoon character middle initial. You have Homer J. Simpson, Philip J. Fry, Hubert J. Farnsworth. I'm pretty sure his great uncle or whatever has the same initial. It's the iconic character middle initial, if you ask me.
I actually wish that my middle initial was J. It's G, and it just doesn't flow well. BGB.
Well,
Anyway,
one of my middle initials is J, and it's MDJM, and people think I'm a wannabe DJ. It's like no, this is just what my parents gave me.
if you start DJing,
Oh yeah, for
you've
sure.
got it set.
Yeah. So this is where the George Costanza moment appeared to me, where they start hooking up, they start getting it on. But I was thinking, George Costanza, if he could set up a simulator, he would have it where the condom wrapper had like a rip open on it already, so he could he wouldn't have to struggle to get it open. And
I love that episode so much.
She's
like, "Come on, George, come on." And he's like, you see him fidgeting with the prophylactic wrapper, and then it just rips it open. And he's like, no. You just see his hands just like relax, and he's like, no, it's too late. Or it's done. Yeah, something like that. However, this was not the case between Isaac and Claire. As we find out later, Isaac was able to respond to every micro movement or something like that.
There's a lot of girl talk that happens, and Dr. Finn does talk about how Isaac is like the perfect lover and can respond to all her movements in the perfect way. He was like super aware of what she wanted.
Yeah, she compared it to a man and it being like infinitely better.
So it's over for us, guys. It's GG. Let's just pack it up and go home.
GG, uninstall.
Unless there's female Kaylons out there, which that's next. That's coming up. I'm sure.
Stay tuned.
Yeah, Dr. Finn reveals. She says, "I think I'm in love with him," referring to Isaac. So, which is cool. I like that. So as soon as she says, "I think I'm in love with him," we jump cut to Isaac saying, "The coital pairing marks the completion of my data acquisition," and like he basically like I was ready to break up with her after that. Like
yeah, no, I love that because I wrote that down like exactly quote for quote. I remember like pausing the episode and like typing down because that was so funny, and it's just kind of it's so funny because he's like, "What's the proper method of terminating a coupling?" LeVar's like, wait, what? You want to break up with her?
Yeah.
Like he pretty much says like the data that he's accumulated is sufficient, and LeVar's just like, well, she's probably gonna be pretty upset. Like,
yeah. Lamar gives him advice on how to put her down easier. Basically, make yourself look extra horrible so that she'll want to break up with you, so you don't hurt her feelings as much as he would otherwise.
Mm-hmm.
Which leads to one of my favorite images, probably my favorite scene in the entire series. I love this moment here. It's going to be my cover photo on every social media platform when they reveal Dr. Finn coming into Isaac's quarters. Or maybe he's in her quarters. I can't quite remember. I'm just in
It is her quarters, yeah.
Yeah, I'm just in ecstasy after watching this. It was just so great seeing Isaac with the wife beater or undershirt to more, literate people and tidy whities there. He's wearing the briefs. And it's the best mental image the show has given me.
Oh my god, I actually love it so much as well. Like I don't condone Isaac's behavior, but I mean that image. Matt actually had shared that image with me before, like just after the airing of the episode, and I just got it on like Facebook or it may have been Discord, I don't remember. And I love this scene because the scene's super interesting in the sense that like Isaac is a robot, but he exhibits. Or he personifies himself. I don't know, just like, he's wearing clothing again. Like this is something that we've seen earlier. But he's actually like, maybe he's not consuming alcohol, but he's making it appear as though he's, a significant other, a husband in what's kind of a stereotypical situation. Coming home from work, being, like mistreating his wife and being a drunk and all this.
Yeah, Mark Hansen's playing a robot, playing, the role of a lazy husband.
Pretty much Homer Simpson, if I may be so bold.
Well, it's basically like Al Bundy. It's like you just watched Married with Children. It was like trying to replicate Al Bundy. It was great.
Yeah, I'm familiar with the show.
Yeah,
that's so funny. Actually, I like that. Yeah, like Isaac is he's pretty awful to her. And he just wants her to break up with him. He actually says something along the lines. He goes, "Is our coupling terminated or something?"
Yeah, Isaac said. Before that, Isaac's like, "You're home. It's about time." And she goes, "Isaac, what are you doing?" He says, "I'm awaiting my dinner that has caused me to become displeased." And Isaac then, like, he's like looking at the TV and stuff like that. He's even got like the looking disinterested thing done, like on lock as well, which is cool.
Yeah, no, you're right. He definitely has managed to replicate the whole like I don't really care so much. This is like maybe it's programming. I mean, he is whatever. But yeah, he nails it, man. Like he's such a trashy husband for
the last thing you need is more dessert. Like,
yeah, excuse me or what or whatever she said. She was appalled.
He just drops
Very
like
offended.
everything you're not supposed to say when around
Yeah,
your significant other.
and like just how fast everything happened. They just spent a blissful evening together. You know, she says she's in love, and now she comes home, like her duty is over, her shift's over, and then
And she
it's
says the
like
show in
last
front of
night.
her.
Yeah, yeah, it's just something completely
You
different.
went to the symphony, now here you're going to theater. It's crazy.
Darling, I hope you're a fan of the theater.
Yeah, and eventually they're fighting, and then she goes, "You slept with me, and now you're done with me," and he just goes, "That is correct." Like, like, oh my god, like obviously it's terrible what he's doing, but that line killed me. Like the delivery, oh, beautiful.
Yeah, no, it's true, man. And then she's like, yeah, well, like, if that's what you want, then yes, blah, 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 blah. She looks so sad, man. I mean, I think we've maybe been in similar situations as human beings where we've been involved with an individual
You're
and
more into them
find
than
out
they are to you.
quickly, or, like vice versa, even that you're being
Yeah,
used for, something. But yeah, so after the breakup happens, this is actually the scene where Claire enters the bar again and Yaphit comes up in his fancy holodeck body and tries to rebound Claire like super hard.
I'm a huge Norm Macdonald fan. I love him, and I've grown to appreciate him a lot in the recent years. And oh my god, it was so funny. He was great, and him like pulling the beer over, it was awesome. I assume that's how they got him in the show because we haven't seen Yaphit in a while, and they're like, well, we'll put you on screen live, actually you on the screen, and I think
You
that's
know what's
something.
interesting, Matt? Earlier in this episode, we talked about the parallels between
Yaphit and
Yaphit
Isaac.
and Isaac, or maybe the lack of parallels, like the lack of common ground they have, like they're very different. I guess they
Yeah,
share the difference,
they've got similar tastes in
whether
women.
though the attributes, giddy up, there you go. But I thought that it was extremely interesting that you get to see like the actors, both actors make a live appearance for the first time.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So that's another connection they have. I
Yeah,
loved it.
yeah, it's nice in a strange
Maybe
way.
we'll
Really good.
see. Maybe we'll see Peter Macon, the actual actor playing Bortus. He'll do like the whole thing eventually.
Yeah, who knows? That would be really interesting. Maybe get him to like almost play as like a guest star, or maybe like,
Yeah,
something happens. Maybe
anything to get on there without having to put the makeup on. I'm sure that takes forever and it grows tiresome.
I imagine, like before every set, you sit there for God, who knows how long.
Yeah. So later on, Isaac and Ed are talking. I think this might be before. This is after the bar scene. I think Isaac it points out that Isaac made a mistake, and Isaac says, "I have restructured many recursive elements." That like he's like rearranging his schedule, but he's noticed that like she's not there. Dr. Finn doesn't want to see him anymore. So his life has changed and he's noticed a difference in his life without her there. Whether he misses her or it's just my schedule is different and I'm not used to it.
Yeah, I believe what he actually said was he was deleting subprograms, and what he didn't account for, because after like he terminated the relationship with Claire, he, for him, it's easy to just forget about her. Well, so he thought it would be. But he mentions that he has adaptive programming, and the adaptive programming is what kind of inhibits his proper function, because certain programs that he made to be for like the romantic involvement with Claire are like the adaptiveness of his programming nature has interfered or conflicted with his routine program that he didn't delete, that he's always been used to. This is when Ed makes the comparison, kind of humanizes him for a moment and says like, "Oh, she's really gotten like under your skin, hey?" And he's like, that's not possible, blah blah blah. But yeah, Ed also says, you may be the first artificial life form to fall in love. And honestly, man, this is a this is a tear-jerking episode. This is cute. This is super cute.
The ending definitely struck a chord with me. I think it's one of the stronger emotional moments in the season, or in the show in general. I think the
Yeah.
season's had a lot of strong endings. Like the pickle jar, for Christ's sakes, made me tear up. And if anybody hasn't seen the show, I look like a moron.
The pickle jar. Yeah, guys, go watch that episode if you don't know the reference.
We'll talk about it.
It's hard, yeah.
Yeah, we'll loop around and we'll talk about the first 13 episodes before we started podcasting in episode 4 of this season. That's the plan during the summer while the show's off air, because it might be off for a long time if it gets renewed.
Yeah, so we'll be revisiting that later, and we'll talk about that in a much greater amount of depth later. Yeah, so this is such a beautiful, beautiful moment. So this is when Claire comes to the bridge and she's like, "Okay, Captain, like I received a transmission to sickbay," and he's like, "Kelly, was that you?" And Kelly's like, "No."
No.
And she's like, "Well, it did come to sickbay. Yeah, like it came to sickbay from the bridge." And then Isaac stands up and he's
Well, the
like,
thing about
"Well,
Isaac though is he's got a sick bay that he's got to win back.
oh yeah, she's an emotionally sickbay."
No, yeah, I'm sorry. Sorry.
So actually, when this is happening, we get back to the bridge. We see Bortus finally shaved.
Tala
So,
says like, "I'm glad you shaved. You look better without the mustache." And like he pauses and like does that like smell the fart acting as Joey Tribbiani calls it, where he like kind of like looks away. It's like the same look that Scott Grimes gave when he talked about wanting to be captain or whatever. It almost like he loved the mustache. Like, God, that was like a great time, or he loved. Like he said, it was itchy,
fond
but
memories.
almost a bit of it, he might like want the mustache back, which is the feeling you get when you shave a mustache. You're just like, want
It's
that
true.
back.
You know, you have this like beautiful facial hair, and then you shave
Yeah,
it because you're like, well, I have to go back to, society, like the weekend's over or whatever.
yeah. Yeah, I have a
And
job
yeah,
interview or something. Yeah.
yeah, you gotta look sharp.
Maybe he'll, get his own follicle stimulator and start growing different types of hair. I think that'd be pretty sweet. Different
Might be
hairstyles.
fun to experiment with. Who
He,
knows?
he'd
Yeah,
be
like
the Wooly Willy of the Orville universe. That'd be pretty sweet.
But yeah, so then, so yeah, Claire comes to the bridge. Isaac takes responsibility for the sickbay call, and then he cues "Singing in the Rain" again. Oh my God! Environmental control profile, Isaac 42, and the beauty just emanates from the heavens. There's
Yeah.
bloody rain. There's rain on the bridge, man. Like this isn't like when I first saw this, I was like, hey, wait a minute. How is the holodeck? How is the simulator projecting there? Like in Star Trek, they've always had that issue.
Mhm.
And then I realized, wait, this is environmental controls. This isn't a holodeck. Like this isn't
No,
a
it's not a
projection.
hologram.
This is
It's just
real water
it's just music and some water. Well,
raining
or it's
all
corn
over
syrup.
the bridge,
It's
all
corn
over
syrup
those
for your
peripheries.
yeah, for you movie buffs out there. They usually use corn syrup to show up on screen because water doesn't actually look like that on camera. So they use corn syrup because the texture and it looks more like you can see it more on camera.
That's really neat. I didn't know that. Fun
Yeah.
fact.
Yeah, that's a fun fact. I don't know if they still use it, but that's what they've been using for a long time. So maybe they have a more viscous liquid. I don't know if viscous is the type of liquid. I just want to say viscous.
Yeah,
It's
the viscosity is too low. We need
yeah.
more corn syrup.
When I say viscosity, I feel like I'm Sonic the Hedgehog, like sliding down a rail or something like that. It's great. It's great.
Just feel
Um,
alive, man.
yeah, of course. Like my mind was just going like, how is the control panel like not like fizzing out and like there's like sparks.
Absolutely obliterated. Just like,
Yeah, but they're pretty durable. I think they're waterproof, which would make sense.
I mean, yeah, we can hope that they are, and we can assume that they are. If they don't already know that, like that's a pretty bold move by Isaac. I mean,
Yeah, Dr. Finn says, Isaac, if a relationship has any chance of working, it has to matter to both people more than anything in their lives. And then Isaac goes, my research has verified this fact, which is, I don't know, I guess he learned. So his data is improving.
yeah, he goes, my internal programs will run more efficiently with you. And I think that's interesting because we know that like the diagnostic that he performed on himself, like it showed us that his efficiency has been complicated with the lack of Claire being in his life. So Claire says like, wait, what? Like you're telling me that you're better with me than without me? And he just says like affirmative or something like that.
Yeah, that's his way
Um,
of saying my life is better with you in it.
yeah, and that's so cute. You know what I mean? Because it's like even though he's not able to feel, you know what I mean? He can't express or experience emotion, but undeniably the truth is that he is a better him with her than without her. And I mean, shouldn't that be one of like the defining features of like a good partner that they help you
They make you
in
the best
whatever
you can
means?
be.
Yeah, and I just think it's so. I think it's brilliant. I think it's beautiful because this goes back to the first part of the episode. There is a paper that she needs help with correcting, and she offers to repay him the favor, and he says that's not possible. You know what I mean? Due to his cognitive superiority or whatever, being a machine, not a human being. But he very much does get that favor repaid later based on like the data that he's collected about human behaviors. So he actually like Claire
He
does
did,
help
yeah.
him,
That's a
and
good
in the
point.
end, he keeps her or she keeps him running at peak efficiency. Like how
That's
cute is
really
that?
cool. I
Man
like
and
that.
machine.
They're good bookends in the episode.
It's great. Yeah, I loved it. I
Well,
thought it was
she teaches him something that no Kaylon has ever experienced or ever learned, which is cool.
absolutely. It's just like Wow, just like their partnership, not only does it bring like great intellectual insight into human mating not rituals, but human I guess
Coupling and
coupling. Yeah,
yeah,
thank you.
some
And yeah, and then it's like I don't know, it actually turns out to be a mutually beneficial relationship, and I think it's perfect.
Lamar, like, wait, you notice Lamar's reaction in that scene? He almost learned like he like learned something. He nods, and it's like he said, "Wow, he freaking killed it." Like that man, I almost learned something from him.
Yeah, he's gonna be jotting that down for when he has to quote unquote win the girl back.
Yeah, Ensign Turco there. You never know. He might have to use Isaac's tactics. Might be going to him for advice. That'd be hilarious.
That would be quite the
Yeah.
flipping of the table. I'm going
Or,
to use
or
that.
or even just Gordon going to talk to Isaac for advice. Like, hey, Isaac, I need some tips here.
Yeah, that'd be a great scene if like Lamar and Gordon were sitting together and like Isaac comes in the room and then he like looks to Lamar and then he goes over to Isaac. He's like, "Look, I need some help with like this girl or something." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I feel like Lamar's pride might be slightly
Yeah.
damaged. I'm not sure, but
Yeah.
he seems like a modest guy, but whatever.
Yeah. Dr. Finn gives Isaac a kiss on his, non-existent snout there, and it was nice. It was cool because after that, Gordon drops the line that I think will be repeated quite a bit. He says, "We are without a doubt the weirdest ship on this fleet or in the fleet." It was
Mhm.
great.
All
It's
I would
true.
like to say about that is he's actually not served on the Redenbacher, and things get pretty wacky behind the scenes here.
Oh
If that's
yeah.
something you guys would like to see, let us know. We might put together some behind the scenes kind of cut audio or some silly stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
It'll
Oh
probably
yeah.
be mature audiences only, though. It's
Yeah, some wild stuff happens here. Sometimes there's casualties as well. I was thinking near the end, like when she kissed him on his like metallic face there, it's almost like, oh, she almost like accepts his robotic body there. But then we cut to them walking down the hallway. They walk into the holodeck and he turns to his human form. So he still brings up the human form. But
Mhm.
I think Dr. Finn might have grown a bit like, okay, maybe I can appreciate the robotic form as well. I don't know if that wasn't like heavily hinted at, but she also has things to accept in Isaac as well.
Absolutely. I mean, when someone is in love, like Claire herself has explained her feelings as being in love. Like when you're in love, like you have to accept the person that you love, and it's not even a means of really accepting them. It should come natural. Like you should
You love
love
them
their
for all their
imperfections.
faults as well as their
Exactly.
yeah.
So maybe that's something that's happening now. Like she realizes that the physical elements of a relationship are only one small part. Like yes, as lovers, people enjoy like the physical touch of their companion. But if your relationship is based off of like physical elements like alone, then it's a very hollow relationship, and it'll probably
Yeah. You don't
it'll
just want to live with
come to
someone
close on
that
its
is
own.
just the only
You
time you
know,
enjoy each other is when you're hooking up.
yeah, exactly. It's
You have
like
to live with this person. There's more to life than just getting it on.
absolutely. Uh, um, but yeah, I thought it was interesting, especially when Isaac returns his human appearance. For some reason, you can tell me this is inappropriate. All I thought of was "Shut up, Wesley." I just thought he looked like Wesley Crusher, and I could just picture Picard's voice for some reason. "Shut up, Wesley."
No,
Like,
I mean, if we want to get Mark Jackson on the podcast someday, hopefully that clip doesn't get passed around or whatever. But
oh.
yeah, no, no, we might keep it. But what's cool, I wanted to mention this and it actually reminded me. I joined Reddit recently, or like I've had the account for a while, but I started using it, and I actually interacted with Mark Jackson on Reddit. He did an AMA, and he answered one of my questions. I asked him a question about well, it was an AMA. How there would have to be questions.
And it is about anything.
Yeah, yeah,
That's
for
the
sure.
second A. I mean,
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I asked, will there be an action figure of Isaac in the brief Snyder shirt? If so, there's a blank check with the manufacturer's name on it, left a portrayal of Isaac. And he goes, that is a fantastic idea. So, hopefully he gets the word out. I will buy, 10 of those. I'd like to get like a 3-pack with human Isaac or like dating clothes Isaac and then boxer's brief Isaac and
that
human
would
Isaac.
actually be an awesome collectible, and I can tell you 100% that I would purchase it too. And I would even go as far to buy the private quarters kind of thing. Have the couch and set him up in his little dolly quarters, and
Yeah, make it almost like, a Job of the Hut layout, where he's so
yeah,
casual he doesn't care.
comes with a little beer.
Yeah, exactly. Kung Fu
But
grip,
yeah,
Kung Fu grip as well. Yeah.
So, I mean, I think that's pretty amazing. We're obviously huge fans of the Orville, and I mean, yeah, it was a great opportunity to hear back from Mr. Jackson, and it's
It's nice
quite
to hear from, and
nice.
I like how the actors are participating in the fan community. They're going on, other podcasts and stuff like that, and they're interacting with people online, and that's what helps build a great community. And
Yeah, absolutely. In any type of creative development, it's so great to see the people involved in this production, to really get involved in the community and the fandom as well. And I think we can both agree that it means a lot that Mark got back to
yeah.
us.
No, yeah, I think it's cool that I want these guys to have the experience of what it's like to be on the first Star Trek, not to be like bombarded by rabid geeks and stuff at these conventions and stuff like myself. But it's a big deal. I feel like culturally this is a great show, and like Star Trek, the original series, wasn't really appreciated until it entered syndication. I hope that's not the case for this show. I hope it gets appreciation while it's still ongoing.
Yeah, absolutely. It would be nice to see the show really take off and its fandom really expand. Like they're doing an excellent job with the Orville. I look forward to every episode so much.
Yeah, I want to, for those that are still listening and those that listened before, I want to say thank you again. It's really cool to see listeners in California and Washington and, Sweden and Denmark and all these places. To know that our podcast is listened to internationally by some people is really cool.
Yeah, it's super awesome, and I think it just kind of shows how far the Orville fandom expands. You know, it's like everyone from all over can kind of get an appreciation for it, and yeah, apparently they have enough interest to tune into our podcast. So I'd like to take the opportunity to thank everyone as well. I mean, it means so much. Like, we just love to share our ideas, and we'd really like to hear some more back from you guys to see what you think about things.
Yeah, any
Um,
ways that we can improve, we'd love to hear it.
Absolutely. Like if you like it, give us like a big thumbs up. If you don't like it, give us a thumbs up, but leave a nasty comment.
Yeah, or just leave it hanging. Yeah, even dislikes I think get us trending or make it so the video is more available because it's reactions. So
And I mean, I gotta say, like that was a joke. Like if you
yeah, yeah.
if you
If you
do
hate it,
like if you don't like the episode or some certain things, constructive criticism will not be taken, offensively around here. I
Yeah,
would
no,
love to
constructive
hear
criticism
back.
is great. And if you feel the need to, throw some hate our way, maybe just yell at a tree or, something like that.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, like ultimately, like we're here talking about something we love for people that hopefully share the same love. So we just want to, really fine tune and tailor this podcast to what you guys want to hear, just to make it the most enjoyable experience for all of us.
Yeah, definitely. Our main hub is Podbean, but we're also on Spotify under the Redenbacher podcast. We're on YouTube. The channel's called the Redenbacher, and we're trying to get onto the Apple Podcast app. We're in the process of that. We're also on Instagram, revealing some behind the scenes photos of the studio and maybe some memes if we're into that kind of wildness.
Yeah, you might get some silly memes in the future, especially if you guys start hitting me up with those Yaphit memes I requested of you earlier. I,
Or
I would
yeah,
I would love to feature it on the Instagram if you guys are willing to
yeah,
do that. That would be phenomenal. I'd
or
I'd have
yeah,
a great time.
any fan art or whatever, just send it to ussredenbacher@gmail.com, and we'd love to share that. So yeah, that's about it for the show. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and we're gonna try to get these out more timely before the episodes come out. That's an effort that we're gonna make.
Absolutely. This is a very new project for us, something that neither of us have much experience doing.
Yeah.
So we really do appreciate your guys' patience. We're going to try to get things a little bit more scheduled around here. And yeah, we're going to try and make sure we get our episodes out in great time before the following episode, and just to keep those thoughts fresh in your mind from when you watch the episode.
Yeah, for sure. So, anyways, from the Aloysius sector for Ben Bullerwell, I'm Matt Murphy, signing off.